Hey guys, it's me Simo Urahara, and in this video we're gonna talk about something I mentioned in my last video. The one about why Onohana didn't fight Aizen Sosuke during the fake Karakura Chowan battle. I said that one of the things Onohana might have exaggerated is how she saw Aizen and her potential battle against him was limiting him only to the power of Kyōka Suigetsu. And this fan's comment, guys, actually caught my attention because he also focused on the same idea I brought up in that video, since I had been planning to make a video about the Gotei 13 and their battle against Sosuke Aizen and what fatal mistakes led to their collective defeat at the hands of a single man. But before we start, guys, don't forget to support the video by hitting the like button and leave your great comments that makes the comment section rich with unique ideas about the story of Bleach. And for those who want to support me, you can join the channel membership, support me on Patreon, or send your support through thanks donation or PayPal. And thank you guys so much. And to begin with, guys, I want to start from the things that the captains realized after Aizen's betrayal was revealed. The Gotei 13, ever since Sosuke Aizen joined their ranks, knew nothing about his true nature. He entered as an officer until he became captain of the 5th Division. Along the way, he recruited Tosen and later Gin to his side. And they were the only ones who knew about his Shikai's ability, Kyōka Suigetsu, which manipulates all 5 senses. And while the Gotei 13 slept peacefully, drunk on dreams of stability and the glory of past victories, Aizen was conducting his secret experiments with halification, ways of breaking barriers and reaching new dimensions of power. And anyone who stood in his way was removed one way or another. The Visored captains, along with Urahara Kizuki, Richie and Chisai, were all exiled from Soul Society due to Aizen's schemes. And the same thing happened with Isshin Shiba, though in his case he voluntarily chose to leave in order to save Masaki Kurosaki. So in the midst of all of this, Aizen was also working on the Hōgyoku, which can be considered the most important piece in everything we're discussing now. True, Urahara Kizuki also possessed a Hōgyoku and sought to strengthen the Kunpaku by breaking barriers. But Aizen's approach to the Hōgyoku was different, to make it stronger, and things continued like this until he realized he needed Urahara's Hōgyoku in order to obtain a complete one. Of course, all of this was happening without anyone in the Gotei 13 knowing. Even captains who had their suspicions about Sosuke Aizen were still trapped under Kyōka Suigetsu's effect. No matter how much they thought about it, they could never perceive the truth, especially since the image Aizen presented to everyone with his glasses, his warm smile, and his social integration with everyone around him made it impossible for anyone to suspect him. But that illusion eventually shattered and the truth was exposed. The man was in fact a traitor. He was the one behind Rukia's execution plot. And the real issue here, guys, was that the Shinigamis, in the shock of realizing that they had been deceived for decades, saw the danger only in Kyōka Suigetsu. But in reality, Aizen's entire plan and everything he did in the Soul Society arc was for taking the Hōgyoku from Rukia. So at the end of the Soul Society arc, all the captains, led by Yamamoto, witnessed and heard Aizen's words, that he sought to sit upon the empty throne, meaning his battle wasn't truly against the Gotei 13, but against the Soul King himself. And so at the start of the Yankara Arc, the outlines of the upcoming clash between the Shinigami and Aizen began to show. It could be said that there were 3 different factions, but with one common enemy, Sosuke Aizen. We have the Gotei 13, the Visoreds, and Urahara's group. All of them knew Aizen was gathering an army of Arankar with which he would strike the world. And based on that knowledge, we saw Urahara begin preparing for the battle, especially after Ilikura and Yami appeared in the human world. And as a part of the preparations, a special team was dispatched to Karakura, led by Toshiro along with Rukia, Renji and the others. And there, Aizen's true threat was explained. The danger wasn't only that they were Arankars, but the true identity of the heroes that will be Arankars, especially the Vassal Lords, and to a lesser degree, Adyukas. It was also revealed that Aizen was using the Hōgyoku to make the Arankara more complete, and that the Hōgyoku would be the key to achieving his goals. Then in chapter 223, the near complete picture of Aizen's plan became clear, when Okichaki discovered that Aizen Sosuke had access to documents related to the Hōgyoku, as well as signs on creating the King's Key, the Uken, and that Karakura-chan was the place Aizen needed to make the Uken because of its high spiritual density. Now guys, I have laid out all of these details which show that the Gotei 13 actually had some very important information, that Aizen was using his Shikai to deceive them, that he had taken the Hōgyoku from Rukia and was using it to form an army of Arrancar, and that his greater objective was to create the Uken by destroying Karakura-chan and removing the Soul King. So the essential question became, how would the Shinigami face Sosuke Aizen's schemes? This is where the Gotei 13 made many mistakes, because they simply focused on 2 points while completely forgetting the most important one. The first point was how to deal with the humans in Karakura-chan. Aizen wanted to destroy the city. However guys, the funny thing is, the Gotei 13 themselves didn't really have a solution for this problem. So Yamamoto had to reach out to Urahara Kiisuke, who created the gate that allowed Karakura to be transformed entirely. In exchange, Mayuri's team built a substitute city where the battle would take place. So yes, we could say that moving Karakura-chan was in itself a brilliant idea, but the main problem lay in how to deal with Aizen and actually defeat him. All the captains, without exception, focus only on taking precautions against Aizen's Shikai and nothing more. And it didn't stop there. Even the visors themselves only thought about Kyōka Suigetsu and how they could avoid it. Of course, we can't deny that this was important. Removing Kyōka Suigetsu would allow them to face Aizen directly and maybe kill him, but that would only work if he didn't possess the Hōgyoku. It seems that everyone misunderstood the true power and the nature of the Hōgyoku, and the captains probably thought its only purpose was to strengthen Aizen's Arrancar army. That's why one of their strategies was to find an opening for Ichigo to attack Aizen, since he was the only one who had never fallen under Kyōka Suigetsu's illusion. The Vizards under Hiraku's lead believed that his Shikai Sakanadi could counter Kyōka Suigetsu, and that this alone would allow them to defeat Aizen once it was neutralized. But no one talked about the Hōgyoku. No one even considered that Aizen, even without it, was already extremely difficult to kill, something he had shown them back at the end of the Society arc. Even when they were fighting Sosuke Aizen directly, there was no revolutionary plan to counter Kyōka Suigetsu. They were just fighting for fighting. There is no real tactics or strategy. Even Yamamoto, who I might say suspected that Sosuke Aizen may have the Hōgyoku inside him, he came up with a suicidal plan, uncertain in its outcome, where he would unleash his Shikai flames to try and kill Aizen. And in the end, Aizen had already planned for Yamamoto's Zanpakuto by creating Wonder Eyes. So when you look guys at how the Gotei 13 planned things, you see their thinking was rather shallow. Trying to overcome the Espada, trying to beat Aizen's Shikai without a true plan. That's why guys, I can say that the only person who truly knew the danger of Aizen Sosuke and who took the path that could actually stop him was Urahara Kiisuke, because he understood that Aizen's strength wasn't just in Kyōka Suigetsu, but that the battle had moved to an entirely different level, the level of the Hōgyoku. Urahara Kiisuke knew perfectly well that once Aizen fused with the Hōgyoku, killing him would become impossible. That's why he worked on preparing countless weapons to wear Aizen down and bring him to the point where he could finally seal him with Kido. This is why it would have been much better if the Gotei 13 had actually discussed this matter, especially since Okichake himself had seen documents related to the Hōgyoku that Aizen used, meaning it wasn't completely new information for them. That's why I also wonder why someone like Mayuri, a scientist, didn't think of a way to counter Kyōka Suigetsu's ability, since that was the main obsession of the entire Gotei 13. In the end guys, I believe that the reason for the fall of the Gotei 13 wasn't that Aizen split them up, with 4 captains fighting in weak commando, and others in fake Karakura-chan, but the real reason was their shallow pre-battle strategy against someone like Sosuke Aizen. So guys, what do you think about what I have said? Do you have other opinions? Tell me guys about that in the comments, and see you guys in my next video.